Hello there, my name is Adam. I'm a 3D artist and illustrator, and today I'm going to show you how to make another isometric room. So, first, before we do anything, we go up here to Edit, Preferences, go to Add-ons, search Loop, turn on Mesh Loop Tools, and search up Extra Objects, and search up Mesh Extra Objects, and mark that as well. Then go to Inputs, and do emulate 3-button mouse. Another thing you have to do is go to Key or Key Mapping and mark Tab for Pie menu and Extra Shading Pie menu. All these will make your workflow much smoother, and I always do this at the start of the video for people who don't have these things activated. So yeah. Alright. Go to here, save preferences, and that should be everything. I personally have those saved already, so I don't have any issue. Alright, give me one sec. If you ever need to know what hotkeys I'm using, they're right down here in the right corner. So if you ever need to know a hotkey or anything, if you see there, I left click and it marks it with numbers and everything. So if you ever need to follow along with the hotkeys, they're down here. Alright, I'm going to close that menu. And now the first thing we have to do is import a reference. So do Shift A, Image, and Reference. Make sure to unmark that. And over here, I have to go to Downloads. And there, Living Room 2. That's the image I'm going to need. Load reference, rotate, lock it to the x-axis, and type in 90. G, move it out of the way. And now as for this, go into Edit Mode, Face Selection, and select these 3 faces here. Delete. Now, go into Object Mode, go over here to Modifier, and we add a Solidify modifier to this. Then, make this 0.15 meters in thickness. There we go. And make sure you have this ticked as even thickness. Then you can apply this just fine. There we go. And now we have the same thickness that we'd like to use. Alright, so if we look at the reference over here, we're going to create a couch, a coffee table, a TV stand or TV table, I guess would be the way to call it, about 3 paintings, and a potted plant. At least for this tutorial, I will make the plant leaves, and I'll show you how. It's going to be slightly complicated, but not too much. But yeah, I'll show you how to make those. And I'll also show you how to make this little lamp here, which is kind of cool looking. I'll also show you how to make the floor. But first, we have to resize this. So, select this, scale, and we scale it in the x-axis to match the shape of this, because it's kind of a rectangle and not really this. Another thing is that the window is flush with the edge, so we're going to have to do it flush with the edge as well. But first, let's start by making the couch. So, do Shift A, Mesh, Cube. Scale it in the Z-axis a little bit, because we're making this thing here. Scale it in the X-axis to make it kind of thin, and scale it down entirely. Press 1, and move it down, like about there. And if you see that it starts clipping, try to make it so it's not. There we go. Now press G, Y, axis, and move it kinda to there. Perfect. So now it matches the reference pretty well. Alright, we're just going to scale it down a little bit more, and we're just going to make it so it touches the floor. Turn it to Z. There we go. And that should be the perfect size. Maybe a little bit taller, but that can be fixed later by resizing the couch. Alright. The next thing we have to do is add a Boolean modifier. We do subtract, and now we just Shift D, constrain it to the x-axis, scale it down to about there, which seems pretty good. Scale it in the x-axis. There we go. And now I drop this. Press apply, and you can delete this now. And there we go. We have the side of the couch. You can always modify it to be slightly thicker, but right now it's perfect. And now we can make the main part of the couch, which is the bottom part. Remember to right click and shade smooth, then go over here to this, go to normals, and click here if the shading is a little bit weird on it. And then go over here to the wrench, modifier, and bevel modifier, and do 0.02. And you can apply or just leave it as is. It's okay. It's just for the viewport more than anything. And that makes it look nice and smooth, which I like. And it has little rounded corners. Okay, now let's make the bottom part of the couch. It should be the same thickness as this handrest. So Shift A, mesh, we add a cube, scale it down, press 1, G, and let's get it at the same level as this. Perfect. G, constrain to Y, and let me move it into place. Press 7 on the numpad, and here you can just get it perfectly next to this. Then scale in the Y-axis, get it back to where it was, and if it looks a little odd, you can always turn on X-ray, go into edit mode, and simply select these vertices, G, constrain to Y, and just move them forward like that. Perfect. Now it's the exact thickness. Obviously, we still have to edit a few things about this. Like, for example, that it's too tall, so G, constrain to the Z-axis. And we can just move this downwards like that. So now it should be the same thickness as the bottom part of this couch here. So let's look at it like this. And yeah, that seems to be about right. Or maybe a little shorter. Yeah, maybe a little shorter. So let me just go into edit, select these top ones, G, constrain to Z. Then I can select this, edit mode, face selection, select this face, G, constrain to Z, move it up a little bit, and there, now it's perfectly on the edge. Because the bottom part seems to be a little bit thicker. And I think it would look better if it was a little bit thicker. We can also do the top part, G, Z, make it a little bit thicker as well. Rather, I'm just going to Control Z that. I liked it how it was originally. Alright. Now we just have to make the other couch cushions. Before that, we have to go back into object mode, press 1, zoom in, go into edit mode, and we select this face, G, constrain to X, and we move it this way a little bit, just to make it a little thicker. And now we add a bevel modifier to this as well, 0.02. Now we make the other cushions. To do that, we just select this, Shift D, G, constrain to Z, rotate, constrain to X, 90, and there we go. Obviously, we still have to make these couch cushions, but that's the same as adding these ones. And there seems to be a gap in between, so that's good. Alright. So G, constrain to Y, and S, and constrain to X. And we get like a square cushion, constrained to Z. There we go. Is it more of a square or a rectangle? It seems more like a rectangle. So S, Z, there we go. Now we press 1, G, and we just move it into place. How tall is it? It seems to be this tall. Okay, let's scale it down a little bit. Move it into place. Press 3. Select this, G, constrain to Y. There we go. And from this angle, yeah, you can't see it either, which is good. Now we do Shift D again, and we constrain it to X. and we leave a little gap, just like before. We go into edit mode. We select this face, G, constrain to X. Remember to press 1 if you're having trouble. We have the two pillows. Now all we have to do is select these two, Shift D, rotate, constrain it to the X-axis, 90. Then G, press 3. And then we can go into edit mode here. Select this vertice on the, or select this face here, G, and we constrain it to Y, and we just move it to the edge. And now we have our couch. We're still missing one hand rest, so let me do that real quick. Shift D, constrain it to X, and we just move it to the other side. Press 1, G, X, and we put it right on the edge. Perfect. And that should be the couch all done. Before we continue, we need to add this floor here. So, do Shift A, Mesh, and we do a cube. Scale it down to about the size that we're looking for. G, which should be pretty thin. Scale it down. Then we press 1, G. Move it to about the same floor level. There we go. Scale it in the Z-axis. Make it very thin as you can. Press 1, G. Put it on the floor again. There we go. Next, we scale it in the X-axis and make it very thin, right until the edge. Just like that. And there, we have our wood tile. Press 7, G, constrain to Y, move it to the edge, and now we add an array modifier. Once you have it, instead of 1 here, we do -1. There we go. And we add about, let's see, let's do 9. That's a bit too much. Let's do 7. Perfect. Also, don't worry about these ones. We'll just resize them later. Make sure they're in the correct orientation. Yes, they are. And now, simply click on Apply. There we go. Now we have an array of little boards here. Now what we have to do is go here and apply array modifier again. And here we can just put 0. And the difference being that in the Y-axis, we add 1. There we go. Click on Apply again, except this time, we do Edit, and we select all of these. We do Control L, and we press P, and select. Now we deselect everything. We select this edge here, and we move it to this side. So G, constrain to X, and we put them at the halfway point, like this. There we go. Now that the wood is at the halfway point, like this, or rather, you can always modify it slightly, but personally, I'll just leave it there. We can select both of these, Control J to join them, add a modifier, and add one more array modifier, and we do the same thing where we do 0 there, and we add 1 here. And now we repeat this array. Let's see, let's do about 11. See how that looks. A little bit more. Let's do 17. Let's do 18. Perfect. Now it meets perfectly with the edge. Let's turn off X-ray, and we can apply. We're going to leave it like this for now, for basically hiding sakes, so we can just press H there. I'll leave it in for now, mainly because we have to move the couch. So,